show? That was pretty good. I won't ask you again. I can't stand when people are like, I can't hear you, because I'm excited to hear you. What may surprise you, or maybe not so much, that people have been excited and amazed by dolphins for a lot longer than we've been around for. This is certainly nothing new. And it's not too hard to see why. These are very acrobatic animals, very intelligent, very curious, but there's still quite a bit we don't know about these particular animals. So we're going to try and showcase a little bit of everything. And helping us out on the dock this evening, we have the lovely Charlotte and the lovely Christy. The chances are you're not here to see us, you're here to see the dolphins, and rightly so. We have two of them. Their names are Helen. And not to be outdone, we have the lovely Hannah as well. And it's not too hard to see why when you see displays like, yeah, you go, whoa! Rightly so, because I can't jump that high, so that's quite amazing. A round of applause for our trainers, our dolphins. Here we go. Let's do this. This particular species are known as Pacific white-sided dolphins, and researchers know quite a bit about dolphins in general, but this particular species, there's actually still quite a few questions. With the help of Helen and Hannah, we're doing what we can to at least answer a few of those questions. And it's quite rare to see this particular species in a facility. To begin with, most people are more familiar with bottlenose dolphins, but that ain't no bottlenose. They're much more torpedo-shaped, and of course they have that unique coloration along the sides, and that's where you get the name Pacific white-sided dolphin from. It makes sense. And in terms of all species of dolphin put together, they are considered to be one of the most acrobatic. And I encourage you to try and figure out where do they get that reputation from, because we'll try and make it obvious for you. And you may be thinking, well, of course they're acrobatic. You're asking them to be, and well, yes, we are. However, a lot of these displays can actually be seen right off of our coast. If you're visiting British Columbia, yes, we are home to dolphins, Pacific white-sided dolphins. Their range extends from northern Mexico up through our part of the world, and then all the way over to Japan. Yeah, we do frequently see them. I think most recently Hecate Straits. It's not unusual to hear reports being seen on BC Ferry. What and a dolphin off the port-side bow. And yeah, chances are you're seeing a Pacific white-sided dolphin. However, it's not just these animals, but the majority of the dolphin species out there, they all face quite a few dangers out in the water. And two that we have here are no exception. But to tell us a little bit more about the personal stories of one of the animals that we have here, ladies and gentlemen, the lovely Christy.
Thanks, Alex. Both of our dolphins are what we refer to as rescue and rehabilitated animals. They were both found entangled in fishing nets off the coast of Japan and then brought to a rehabilitation facility where they were deemed non-releasable. Luckily, we've been able to provide them with a permanent home here at the Wild Coast. Now, working with me this evening is Helen. She's been with us since 2005, and we've been able to build and maintain a very strong relationship with her in order to provide her with the best possible care through training and regular checkups. Everything that we learn through their health care is used by veterinarians and researchers to get a better understanding of these mysterious animals. In fact, every day that we work with them reveals more information about their species as well as their individual personalities. Believe it or not, they're just as different as you and I. Isn't that right, you guys? But most of all, Helen and Hannah remind us every day that nets pose a serious threat to dolphins all over the world.
Thank you, Christy. So yes, to answer some of the questions that researchers have about these particular animals, we're happy to oblige whenever we can, and we always try and build off whatever knowledge that we have already, so we're not reinventing the wheel. And do we know anything about these animals? Well, yes we do. We know they travel together in groups. There's very social, sometimes small groups, maybe only 2 or 3 individuals, but they can reach sizes of a couple thousand. And as they're moving together in these large groups, they can reach some fairly incredible speeds. And if you're wondering, well, exactly how fast can a dolphin go? Well, a lot faster than we can, about 30 kilometers an hour, give or take. And if you work in Imperial, it's roughly 17 miles an hour. Not terribly fast if you're considering cars, but keep in mind the speed limit here in Stanley Park is only 30. So these animals going at 35, you could actually be passed by a dolphin, which would look ridiculous, but in theory it could happen. Speed, of course, very handy for getting away from predators off of our coast, because we have an even larger black and white predator, but also very handy for catching up with dinner and being food experts. Does anyone here know what do dolphins enjoy for an entree?
Hearing.
Yes, of course, fish. Imagine, if you will, that you are a Pacific white-sided dolphin off of our coast and you're looking for your catch of the day. And it's interesting that, similar to the foods you and I eat, you of course know this, there are different foods that have a higher caloric count than others. And if you're a dolphin, how do you know which fish to go for? How do you know, am I going after this fish, this one? Is this like junk food of the sea? What am I looking for? Well, to figure that out, we have to figure out their metabolic rate. And usually, when people think of dolphins, they think of the really high energy behaviors, and rightly so, because you've got dolphins! That's what everyone thinks of. But in order to figure out how much energy this actually takes, we have to train the animals to do something that's not terribly acrobatic or even very showy, but very important. We have to teach the dolphins how to stand still. Yeah, that's awesome. No, not terribly. But once the dolphins have learned to station or stand still, we can ask them to station inside a metabolic dome. And then we can hook up different tubes and hoses to figure out what's their respiration rate, how much oxygen are they using, how much carbon dioxide is going off. Similar to whenever you see an athlete on a treadmill. Very difficult to put a dolphin on a treadmill. So yeah, we have to train them to actually go inside these domes. Once they're in the domes and comfortable, we can figure out their metabolic rate. And through this work, we've actually been able to figure out these animals, they need about 15,000 calories a day. And to put that in perspective, it's about 5 boxes of Oreos. Has anyone here ever eaten 5 boxes of Oreos in a day? That's a disaster. However, that's quite a lot of calories. And yes, research has shown that for one, yes, these animals do eat an awful lot, and that they are very acrobatic. And the displays you can see both above, and if you happen to see them underwater, yes, they're also very active down there. And that's another question researchers have about these animals, is they're not just acrobatic in and amongst their own species. They're known to be, it looks like they're showing off for seals and sea lions. Well, what's the point showing off for a sea lion if you're a dolphin? It makes no sense. And yeah, that's one of the questions that we have, but probably one of the more difficult ones to answer. Because a lot of the questions, we answer what we can, but there's always other questions that pop up. Something we are dedicated to answering, of course, is how can we help these remarkable neighbors of ours. And Helen and Hannah are living reminders of the fact that we have some rather remarkable neighbors that enjoy seafood just as much, if not more so, than we do. And that's one of the things here at the aquarium, that we try and look at the effects that seafood has not only on our own bellies, but on the animals that we share the coastline with. And as Mike and Rob mentioned inside the Oceanwise program, one of the key components of that program is looking at the abundance of the seafood item. And if, yes, it's an abundant seafood item, that there can be enough left over for the animals off of our coast that we like to have around, then yeah, generally speaking, it's usually a sustainable choice. And that way, yes, we can continue to have remarkable animals like Pacific white-sided dolphins off our coast for as long as possible. However, the raw seafood that we have is for the dolphins for this evening's presentation. We're nearing the end of our time here. On behalf of Helen and Hannah, our 2 remarkable Pacific white-sided dolphins, I'd like to thank you so much for joining us, and enjoy the rest of your evening here at the Vancouver Aquarium. And I've been told to let you know that the wine has been poured and your places are ready. So if you wouldn't mind making your way to your